Now, the deep state, they are really trying as hard as they possibly can to postpone or disrupt the confirmation for Kavanaugh. Now, we saw the testimony yesterday where Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford, they both testified, and we can see that they went ahead today and they had their first vote. And it looks like Flake was flaking out, and he came out. He looked a little nervous. Maybe the deep state has something on him, but he said we should have at least a 1-week investigation where the FBI goes in and they investigate. But what we're seeing is that this investigation might not even take 1 week to complete, because what is happening here is that they're saying that this has to be completed in less than 1 week. And Wired has come out and said law enforcement sources tell Wired sources that Kavanaugh FBI background check will be completed quicker than the Democrats think. And I believe they're going to do this in a couple of days. And they're going to push this out very, very hard. But what's very interesting, during this whole thing with Kavanaugh and Ford, something happened which was very curious. Ford's attorney accepted an envelope from Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, a Democrat of Texas, and kind of handed it to him and then backed away into the crowd. Now, Lee's office came out and said, no, what this was an envelope of unopened stationery notes to counsel for Dr. Ford from women who wanted to enter the hearing room but were not allowed to enter the hearing room. Now, I don't know why she had to push her way all the way to the front, hand him this envelope at that time, and do it like under the table here, and then move herself back. That's kind of suspicious right there. We see the House Intel Committee. They're trying to release the 53 Trump-Russia transcripts. Now, I believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to have some type of October surprise. The transcripts will include testimony from several current and former key members of Trump's orbit, including Bannon, Kushner, Sessions, Trump Jr., Roger Stone, and the rest. And this is going to be a nothing burger, just like we've seen every single of the times, because in the 53 pages, there's going to show there's no Russian collusion whatsoever. They've already proved that there was no Russian collusion, but I think this is all they have, and they're going to try to put this out there and try to make a big deal out of it, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere. We see Rod Rosenstein. He agrees to speak in private with White House lawmakers. Now, he agreed to speak to them because they're questioning him about this wire that he was going to wear to record the president. And Mark Meadows tweeted out, "Leadership has agreed to call Rod Rosenstein before Congress for a closed-door hearing with our panel investigators so we can explain his alleged comments on wiring POTUS as well as other inconsistent statements." So already they're bringing him in. This whole New York Times article kind of backfired on them completely. And we'll have to see how that all plays out. We also see that the U.S. is ready to talk with both the Afghanistan government and the Taliban to put together some type of peace deal. And they started these talks in secret back in July. And all of a sudden, here we are today, where they want everyone together to talk about peace. And I believe this is going to happen. And I think we're going to see a lot of things change once Kavanaugh is confirmed. Once the D-class happens, a lot is going to change, not just here in this country, but around the world. We see Netanyahu is up to his old tricks. He was at the UN General Assembly giving a speech, and of course what he did was he held up a new satellite image saying that Iran has a secret atomic facility. Now, Netanyahu does this quite often. He held up a bomb one time with a red line saying Syria just crossed the red line, we need to go after them. And everything that he says never really turns out to be true. Actually, we see some intel agencies within the U.S. is saying, no, this is not true whatsoever. It doesn't even make sense. Other countries are coming out and saying this doesn't make sense. And again, he's holding up a satellite image with arrows pointing everywhere. The image is very unclear of really what it is, and he's just trying to push some type of war, which they've been trying to do in Syria. We know that the White Helmets escaped through Israel. Islamic State escaped through Israel. And remember, Q has said Israel is the last country. And we can see they're still trying to push their agenda. I mean, Israel was in there bombing Syria. Now Russia has come in, set up the S-300 electronic jamming to stop this. It's all coming to an end, but these people continually try and try and try because they don't want to give up on their goal. They believe that they still have the power. They don't have the power anymore. It's disappearing quicker and quicker. We see Iran is out there saying that the Saudis have crossed a red line. The U.S. has crossed a red line. And it reminds me of North Korea, where they're saying that we're going to attack you, we're going to fire missiles, we're going to level the United States. And Iran is out there saying that they're going to hit the U.S. bases, they will not be safe. And this is the deep state playbook that we're seeing over and over and over again. And once again, they're still trying to do whatever they possibly can to stop from what is happening. They don't want to be found out, and they continually use the propaganda to put out into the corporate media to make everyone believe that they're getting ready to attack someplace. They're not. Q has been very quiet during the hearings, and right after the hearings, Q came back online, and Q started to drop some bread here. So the first one is post 2275. Q came out, put up Trump's tweet, and it says, Judge Kavanaugh showed America exactly why I nominated him. His testimony was powerful, honest, and riveting. Democrats' search and destroy strategy is disgraceful, and this process has been a total sham and effort to delay, obstruct, and resist. The Senate must vote. Post 2276. Q put up a picture of a Mercedes, and it looks like it is in China. And from the close-up, you can see it is a Chinese flag, and the license plate, well, it looks like it's a Chinese license plate, and underneath the picture, Q put Feinstein Q. And we know that Feinstein is involved in a scandal over her aide, who was a Chinese spy. And it's funny that Q would put this picture up because it is in China. I don't know if Feinstein is in this car. Maybe so, showing the license plate. And if you look at the zoomed in license plate, you can see that it's from the Guangdong province. And you can see that there's Chinese writing on the left-hand side. And who knows, this might be Feinstein in the car in China. Let's move on to post 2277. Q says, welcome aboard, Judge K. Now, of course, Q is saying that this is already a done deal. And in post 2278, an anon came on and said, shouldn't that be Justice K? And Q says, you are correct. Post 2279. Q put up a Twitter link. This is to Cap USA 1. And the link says, just another seek and destroy day at the office for Democrats. And it shows a lot of pictures during the hearing where they're laughing, thumbs up, and things like that. And it looks like what this is about, it's showing that this is really not about the woman. It's about their agenda. And they're smiling and happy about this. Post 2280. Q put up in kill brackets, all caps, bold, Feinstein. Threat to Murkowski. Evil, be gone. So it looks like Feinstein is a threat to Murkowski. Now, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, they're going to vote in support of Brett Kavanaugh. Now, the next post that Q put up is 2281, repeated everything that Q said back in 2280, where Feinstein threatened Murkowski, and actually showed a picture of Feinstein looking directly at Murkowski, her hand on the wall blocking her, and Feinstein looks very angry and Murkowski looks a little nervous. And it looks like maybe Feinstein was threatening her in some way. Post 2282. Q put up Supreme Court justices to receive full-time security details pending. Q. Most likely, they're going to have to put security detail around Justice Kavanaugh because he's probably receiving a lot of threats, and there's probably a lot of deep state operatives that are threatening him, and they want to keep him safe. Post 2283. Q put up links to Trump's tweets. The first one is Senator Richard Blumenthal, who never fought in Vietnam, when he said for years he had, which was a major lie, now misrepresents what Judge Gorsuch told him. The next tweet is Chris Cuomo, in his interview with Senator Blumenthal, never asked him about his long-term lie about his brave service in Vietnam. Fake news. The next tweet. Interesting to watch Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut talking about hoax Russian collusion when he was a phony Vietnam con artist. Next tweet. Never in U.S. history has anyone lied or defrauded voters like Senator Richard Blumenthal. He told stories about his Vietnam battles and conquest, how brave he was, and it was all a lie. He cried like a baby and begged for forgiveness like a child. Now he judges collusion. And then put up a link to Senator Blumenthal, and this is what the link says. Judge Kavanaugh must honestly answer my questions about the serious accusations of sexual assault made against him. The American people deserve to know the truth about this SCOTUS nominee. And then under this Q says, false in one thing, false in everything. Left hypocrisy, hashtag walk away. So basically, Blumenthal, a liar, wants Kavanaugh to be honest. Crazy. Because we know that honesty is not really important to him. Post 2284. Put up a Twitter link to Tracy Lynn 128. And the tweet says, no collusion here, people. That couldn't be Ford's lawyer with Clinton. That would mean Democrats would ruin a good man's name just to gain power. Surely not even Democrats would stoop that low, and they call Kavanaugh evil. Now, with this, there's a picture of Clinton walking into a van. Behind Clinton, there's this woman with dark hair, very short, and when you look at this person, it looks just like Deborah Katz. Where was Deborah Katz? Well, she was sitting next to Dr. Ford during the trial, and we also see a picture of Deborah Katz, if that's who it really is, and it does look like it, with Clinton. Q went on to say, are you awake? The truth is right in front of you. Think for yourself. Trust yourself. Logical thinking. Fake news, Hollywood puppets lost control. So we can see that the mainstream media, Hollywood, they are completely losing control right now. But Q is saying, do your research. Trust your own judgment on all of this. Post 2285. Q put up Justice K confirmation. Goodbye, Mr. Rosenstein. D-Class, POTUS alert test, Red October, Q. So Q is letting everyone know what is coming. The hammer is coming down. And what we see happening here is that Rosenstein, once the D-Class information is out, Rosenstein, bye-bye. And I believe this is why Rosenstein is trying to meet with Trump right now, and Trump keeps putting him off. And in the beginning, we might have thought that Rosenstein had flipped, but now we're seeing that he did not flip, and maybe this was disinformation on Q's part. So what is clear is that Rosenstein is in trouble because the D-Class is going to put him in a corner. and Trump is not going to fire him. He's going to have to either recuse or resign himself from everything. And then the next person takes his place that will be in charge of Mueller. So Q is telling us that all of this is about to hit. Q is telling us that POTUS alert test because of Kavanaugh's confirmation. Now, Q does mention Red October. What does this mean? Well, we know they normally have October surprises right before the election, and that's why I believe we're going to hear Red October, and I believe this is when the declassification is going to come out just in time for all of this, and we might even see arrests during this period. So, again, we can see that Q is telling us what is going on. And I know it says Justice K confirmation. The confirmation is going to happen. Q has already confirmed this. The FBI investigation that they want, I think they should do it. I think they should go through all the bells and whistles, have it done in 2-3 days, and show, guess what? We didn't find anything. You know what this does? It shuts up the other side. Yes, they might come back with something else, but right there and then, Kavanaugh is then confirmed. There's no other questions. It moves on. And guess what? They weren't able to postpone. 2286. Q put up everything from post 2287, put up a big graphic that says every vote counts. Under it, Red October with 3 arrows pointing to the right, midterm elections, red wave or red tsunami, fight, fight, fight. Post 2287 put up every vote counts, everything that we just read in post 2286, and under it it says midterm elections, days prior, 11/11, what a wonderful day. Well, days prior, 45 days until November 11th, 2018. 45 is the president. 11/11 is the day that Q says we should be focusing on, where the parade is supposed to happen. Post 2288, and Anon put up a tweet from Susan Orlean, and it says, "We will not sit by idly if he is confirmed," which they mean Kavanaugh. "You've been warned." Under it, Kay Grabber says, "And you wonder why bullying is on the rise. Children take notice of adults acting like children. What a wonderful role model you are. Must be proud." Under this, Q put up post 1585. This was back in June 21st. "We told you proofs were going to be important very soon. New eyes, be ready, 5 by 5. We thank you for your service." Under that, on the same post of 1585, it says, "We stand, we fight together. Organized riots being planned, countermeasures in place, resistance for smaller than portrayed by MSM. Attacks will intensify. You collectively are a massive threat. Censorship applied to scale down impact reach. It's failing. Trust yourself. Public awakening." And Q says, "Ready when you are." So they're going to be trying all these different things. They're going to push their agenda. And we can see this is why Q is continually reminding us that there's going to be a presidential alert to keep the comms clear so he can communicate with everyone if something like this goes down. Because Q and the Patriots, they are ready for D-Day. They're ready for the resistance. Post 2289, and Anon put up D5, 45 days to 11/11/2018. Thank you, Q. And Q says nothing gets past Anons. Post 2290, Q put up post 2093 within post 2290 and gave us a link to YouTube. And this is when Lindsey Graham was questioning Kavanaugh during the initial hearing where they were questioning Kavanaugh by himself. This had nothing to do with Dr. Ford. And Q said, look at 26 minutes. Interesting line of questions. Normal. Military law versus criminal law. Think EO, executive order. Think Hillary Rodham Clinton, panic. Do you believe in coincidences? You have more than you know. Under it, it says, did you see Senator Graham's speech today? Coincidence? Enjoy the show. Now, Q went ahead in post 2291, put everything up that we just read, and added post 2199. And it says, panic in D.C. D's offering to kill sexual assault allegations versus Judge Kavanaugh in exchange for immediate pullback of D-class. POTUS, Judge K will be confirmed regardless. So right there, Q is letting us know from post 2199 that Judge K will be confirmed regardless of what is going and what you are seeing and what you hear from the mainstream media. Under it, it says, have faith, patriots. Post 2292, and Anon put up a graphic, and it says, can POTUS tweet a misspelling with a Q, with the letter Q? And next to it says, misspellings matter. So President Trump tweeted out the following: the Democrats are working hard to destroy a wonderful man, and a man who has the potential to be one of our greatest Supreme Court justices ever, with an array of false acquisitions, the letter Q in there, the likes of which we've never seen before. Then, this was at 9:37 p.m., September 24th, 2018. 9:50, President Trump corrected the mistake, and it was on the same day, and it was about 13 minutes apart, and corrected it and made the word accusations. So Trump actually did a misspelling with the letter Q. And the Anon said, thank you for filling this request. Q said, hive mind. Post 2293. Q put up a graphic. Full weight of the House versus ARM. Why are optics important? How does DC work? Why is Ryan still in office? Lame duck. Why is Ryan leaving office? Who controls Ryan? Autists engaged. Under it, it says, House Speaker Paul Ryan, a member of Congress Gang of Eight, that was briefed more than anyone else about the inadequacies of the Russia evidence, believes you should declassify. His office told me today. Puzzle becoming more clear with each passing day. Q. Ryan is a lame duck. He has nothing to lose. He's not looking to get reelected. He doesn't care anymore. And that's why he's saying declassify. Post 2294. Q put up a link, a Twitter link, and this was Eden's Vision. This is a video of Lindsey Graham questioning Brett Kavanaugh about the constitutional rights. Can someone be tried if they're out of the country as an American citizen? And the original video was removed. And we have to think to ourselves, why was it removed? But listen to the question from Lindsey Graham where he's asking Brett Kavanaugh about this.
Fell when the buildings fell.
So when somebody says post 9/11 that we've been at war and it's called the war on terrorism, do you generally agree with that concept?
I do, Senator, because Congress passed the authorization for use of military force, which is still in effect, and that was passed, of course, on September 14th, 2001, 3 days later.
Let's talk about the law in war. Is there a body of law called the Law of Armed Conflict?
There is such a body, Senator.
Is there a body of law that's called basic criminal law?
Yes, Senator.
Are there differences between those two bodies of law?
Yes, Senator.
From an American citizen's point of view, do your constitutional rights follow you? If you're in Paris, does the Fourth Amendment protect you as an American from your own government?
From your own government, yes.
Okay. So, if you're in Afghanistan, do your constitutional rights protect you against your own government?
If you're an American in Afghanistan, you have constitutional rights as against the U.S. government.
Is there a long-standing...
That's long-settled law.
Isn't there also a long-settled law that it goes back to the Eisentrager case? I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, Johnson versus Eisentrager.
Right. that American citizens who collaborate with the enemy have considered enemy combatants?
They can be. They can be. They're sometimes criminally prosecuted, sometimes treated in the military.
Well, let's talk about can be. I think
under Supreme Court precedent.
Right. There's a Supreme Court decision that said that American citizens who collaborated with Nazi saboteurs were tried by the military. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I think a couple of them were executed.
Yeah.
So if anybody doubts, there's a long-standing history in this country that your constitutional rights follow you wherever you go, but you don't have a constitutional right to turn on your own government, collaborate with the enemy of the nation. You'll be treated differently. What's the name of the case, if you can recall, that reaffirmed the concept that you could hold one of our own as an enemy combatant if they were engaged in terrorist activities in Afghanistan? Are you familiar with that case?
Yeah, Hamdi.
Okay. So the bottom line is, I want every American citizen to know you have constitutional rights, but you do not have a constitutional right to collaborate with the enemy. There's a body of law well developed long before 9/11 that understood the difference between basic criminal law and the law of armed conflict. Do you understand those differences?
I do understand that there are different bodies of law, of course, Senator.
Okay.
So that was the first part of the post where Graham was asking Brett Kavanaugh those questions. Under that, Q says, YouTube deleted original. Graham questioning, then listen carefully, which we just did. Then Q says, Graham comments today. Reconcile. Q. So let's listen to what Graham had to say during the hearings with Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsay said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist? No.
Now, Graham was very, very angry during this whole entire thing. And we know that he flipped. We know that he used to work with McCain. He visited Ukraine. He visited Syria. They were backing Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State. And Graham flipped, and he's saying like a bird, and he's doing what he's told to do. And you can see it, and this is what Q is telling us to look at. Post 2295. Dee's playbook midterm election. We will impeach Justice K. Zero corroborating evidence and all factual witnesses provided by accuser, all denied allegations. Should we take control in November? Liberal left, lunacy, bait in kill box. These people are evil, sick, and stupid. You are witnessing the systematic destruction of the old guard. Old guard, power to the people, with arrows pointing power to the people. Red October. So, when we look at this, we can see that their playbook is to try to impeach Justice K. They're going to be doing other things during the month of October. We might even see events, and I believe this is why the presidential alert system is coming online. It will be used because, once again, they might shut down social media, where the only way to hear any type of news is through the mainstream media, and of course it's not going to be the real news, it's going to be the fake news, and the president needs a way to communicate with the entire population, and one way to do this is to use this alert system, which it will hit every single person, and they'll be able to watch. Yes, they can turn it off, but the majority of the people will hear what's really going on. So Q says old guard, 3 arrows pointing to power to the people. So we're witnessing the systematic destruction of the old guard. Gorsuch replaced Scalia, but Kavanaugh replaces Kennedy, who sided with the deep state. Now, the balance is tipped towards conservatives. And the enemies, the deep state, they're going to stop at nothing to try to regain control. Postponing, impeachment, you name it. This is what Q means when we're watching the removal of the old guard and it's restoring the power to the people. And it's happening right now. When we look back in history, people will see this, just like we're looking back in history and we're talking about the founding fathers. We're going to look back in history where the entire country had to be reset. And we will look back and see everything that had to be done, where the deep state, the central banks had to be routed out. Everything had to be set up. And there was this Q that came and gave the people the real information and told them what was going on. I mean, think about what is happening here right today. It's absolutely amazing. And here we are entering October. Q is telling us Red October. Everything is going to hit right now. As Q has said before, timing is everything. And it looks like they timed this absolutely perfectly. So remain calm. The Patriots are in control.